was a good haul for Taiwan at the Michelin Awards this year, but how do the men and women behind the Michelin Guide itself really feel about the country's culinary landscape? In this week's edition of Taiwan Talk, I speak to Gwendal Poullennec, International Director for the Michelin Guides, who tells us what went into the selection process and how the group really feels about Taiwan's culinary scene.
The Michelin Guide has been following the same methodology for more than 1 century, always looking at 5 universal criteria to find the best places to eat. So regarding the quality of the product, the mastery of cooking techniques, the harmony and balance in flavors, the personality of the chef and teams, as expressed on the plate, and last but not least, the consistency, both over time and throughout the menu as a whole. The Michelin Guide selection is done by the famously anonymous inspectors who eat out on average 300 times a year, lunch and dinner. They never come back, the same inspectors is never coming back twice to the same place, so that we can, at the end of the day, really establish our restaurant recommendation based on a team decision. So all Michelin Guide inspectors are working full-time for Michelin. They have a professional background working in the industry. And of course, they are passionate about food, and they are passionate about exploring to unearth all the hidden gems of the local culinary scene.
Taiwan is one of those places that's known for its street food, more for street food and less for fine dining. Do you feel that Michelin has played a part in moving Taiwan's dining culture towards fine dining at all?
But again, the mission of the inspectors is to unearth the hidden gem, and I think by doing so, being able to put a spotlight on all the categories of the restaurants, the Michelin Guide plays part to ignite a local positive emulation, also to push the restaurants, the chef and their team, to raise the bar from one year to the other, to continue to elevate the quality of what they are offering to their guests. And of course, Taiwan is known and famous worldwide for the quality of the street food, but not only. And what we see today, there is also a lot of new talents, local talents, young talents joining the industry with their own project, with their own ideas. So a brand new generation of young and ambitious and creative chefs. But we can also say that not only the foodies love Taiwan as a destination, but the chefs do so as well, because you have more and more international chefs that are not only paying attention to Taiwan, but also willing to establish in Taiwan to benefit from the wonderful products, but also all the culinary influences and the inspiration they will found based on the wonderful and the very deep cultural culinary heritage.
It took 6 years for Taiwan from the time the guide was introduced to the time its first 3-star Taiwan cuisine restaurant was introduced. And in the case of Singapore, the same event that I attended last week, it was the first time a Singapore-themed restaurant was recognized with 3 stars, and not only was it not in Singapore, it was in Taichung. Now, I would like to know whether this speaks to the development of the respective cuisines, or does it speak to the changes in the understanding of the Michelin Guide as to what these 2 respective cuisines have to offer?
But, we'll have to say first that across the world, so the Michelin Guide is covering today more than 40 different countries. And in all our restaurant selection, we are proposing more than 100 different styles of cuisine. We do that really with really open minds. And the inspectors, they have no quota when they assess the quality of the restaurants and when they establish their team recommendations. So for me, the selection and the fact that, yes, for the first time in the history of cuisine, we have Taiwanese modern cuisine restaurants at 3-star level, as well as the first Singaporean cuisine 3-star level restaurants, just reflect the fact that those restaurants have elevated the bar. They have reached the ultimate culinary level and deserve fully the Michelin Guide accolade, respecting their food style and their culinary identity. So at the Michelin Guide, our teams have definitely no quota. They will really reward the restaurants and recommend the restaurants based on the quality of the food experience, always following the universal criteria I already mentioned. And we always ensure that they are open-minded and that we also incorporate the local culinary knowledge. Worldwide, the Michelin Guide inspectors team, they is made of men and women for more than 25 different nationalities. And when we make a selection, for example, in Taiwan or in France, we will involve inspectors coming from all the destinations, as well as we will ensure that inspectors that are based in Taiwan or based in France will travel the world to contribute to all the selections. Okay, that's a way for the Michelin Guide to ensure the consistency of the rating, to make sure that we are letting no stone unturned and that we have no culinary bias. So, and I can say that for me, of course, beyond being an absolute professional in their field, the main quality of the Michelin Guide inspectors is to be really open-minded and willing to recognize and to put a spotlight on the quality, whether it is local or international restaurants, whether it is a small and casual eateries or, let's say, a luxury fine dining place. We just put the spotlight on the best places to eat.
So how would you address concerns that Michelin understands Western dining, but perhaps not so much Asian dining? So maybe the guide is not as relevant in this part of the world, generally speaking, and more specifically to the more niche markets. Taiwan certainly is much more unique and much more different.
First of all, when we look at the figures of the people connecting to a website to access to our restaurant recommendation, we can witness that we have more and more people from across the world really looking for the Michelin Guide recommendation where they are dining out. And a lot of them are definitely coming from Asia to be able to take into account the local culinary cultures. Again, the Michelin Guide has put in place a truly international network of inspectors having in-depth knowledge of all the local culinary particularity, but yet being open to the world to make sure that they can compare and enhance the quality of the food without bias. And I can tell you that we are paying a lot of attention to, let's say, Asian cuisine, because it is both, very diverse and also very, very dynamic. And I think Taiwan is a very good example of that. You find a lot of diversity in terms of style of restaurants. Okay, simple street food, high-end restaurants, food with a local heritage, food with international influences, and you feel that dynamic. More and more young people going to the restaurants, more and more young people joining the restaurants industry. And I can tell you that I'm personally, and my inspector are as well, very much impressed, by the wonderful dynamic we feel in Taiwan, and the local culinary scene is definitely providing. And despite the great results we shared just a few days ago, 2 new 3-star restaurants, but also new Bib Gourmands, new 2 stars, new 1 stars restaurants, plus green stars, we feel that Taiwan has still a lot of potential, and this is maybe just the beginning.
Okay, and now as a final question, can you talk about what you see as dining trends for Asia in general and Taiwan in particular? I'd like you to focus on the Green Star and the Bib Gourmands, simply because I think for the greater audiences, that's much more accessible.
And let's say that even, within our teams, and sometimes we consider the Bib Gourmands are our inspectors' favorites, because there are the places the inspectors will go by themselves when they are not eating out for lunch, when they are eating out, for example, with their family, because not only you have an attention to the value for money, okay, but an attention to the quality. And most of the times, the Bib Gourmands are offering very accessible food with a local influence, and most of the time using very fresh, local, seasonal products. So, and then to come back, let's say, to the main trends. And what we can say is first, the Taiwan culinary scene is flourishing, with some closure, but many new exciting opening. And frankly, from the outside and comparing with other destinations, I can tell you that I do believe that the Taiwanese are really passionate about dining out. And today, I must confess that even for inspectors, it's sometimes hard to get a reservation. Okay, so it has become one of the main topic over there. Okay, dining out is so popular. Then, we also sometimes have to struggle, to have a seat and experience ourselves the restaurants like any other, customers do. Because again, the inspectors are anonymous, so they reserve, they come, they eat, they pay, they go. So we have no VIP entries to restaurants. So very busy landscape, very young clients, a lot of let's say female solo diners. Maybe one of the trends that is quite noticeable in Taiwan. And to come back also to the Green Star, because I think it also reflects one of the trends, which is quite strong, especially in Taiwan, is the fact that a notable number of restaurants are today incorporating new ways of thinking. Okay, and sometimes they just implement a minor change. Okay, to be more respectful to the environment, to care for their producer, to care for the product, to limit the waste, for example. And they are also really leading the way. And we have in Taiwan a real farm to table movement based also on the use of the wonderful local products, which are also very diverse. Taiwanese are real foodies, okay, and they contribute by their exigence to continually elevate the quality of the restaurant's offering.
You were listening to Gwendal Poullennec, International Director for the Michelin Guides. That does it for this edition of Taiwan Talk. I'm Hope Go. Do join us again next time. Thank you for tuning in.